Ever feel like the world of tech is moving so fast you can barely keep up?
Yeah.
Well, you are not alone, and that's kind of why we do these deep dives here on Le Podcast de Philippe.
Exactly right.
And today, we are going to be talking about something pretty unbelievable coming out of Google AI and their new Gemini 2.0 Flash model. The big story here is its ability to remove watermarks from images.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about what that means for intellectual property in the digital age.
Absolutely.
So we'll get into how that all works and what the implications are.
For sure.
And by the way, if you're enjoying these deep dives, it would really help us out if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, for sure.
We're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, so your support means a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This Gemini 2.0 Flash thing, it wasn't really designed specifically to remove watermarks. Right? It was more for general image generation and editing.
Well, yeah, you're right. It was mainly intended for image generation and editing, based on text prompts or other visuals.
Right. But then users started discovering this unexpected capability to remove watermarks.
Okay, so walk me through how this actually works, like on a technical level.
Sure. So imagine you're in Google AI Studio and you've got an image you want to edit.
Okay.
One with a watermark on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just type in a simple command like remove the watermark.
Right.
What happens behind the scenes is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
It uses these deep learning algorithms that have been trained on like massive data sets of images.
Oh, wow.
Including tons of watermarked ones. So the AI learns to recognize the patterns of watermarks and how they blend with the rest of the image.
So it can tell what's part of the image and what's the watermark.
Yeah, exactly. And then it tries to reconstruct the areas underneath the watermark using the surrounding pixels and its knowledge of what the image should look like.
So it's not just like blurring it out or something.
No, it's more sophisticated than that. It's actually trying to recreate the missing information.
Wow, that's wild. And this is all available in Google AI Studio. Yep. And it's pretty easy to use too, from what I hear.
So anyone can basically do this.
Well, yeah, pretty much anyone with access to the internet and a little bit of know-how.
Okay, so now we're getting into the really interesting part for me.
Yeah, this is where it gets kind of complicated.
Because, watermarks are a huge deal for photographers, illustrators, anyone who creates images.
Absolutely. It's how they protect their work and make sure they get paid for it.
Right, because it's like proof of ownership and it discourages people from just using images without permission.
Exactly. And if you think about the bigger picture, watermarks are kind of a cornerstone of how digital content creators earn a living.
So this new AI tool, it's basically disrupting that whole system.
Yeah, it's a real challenge to the traditional model of image licensing and ownership.
So what happens if everyone starts removing watermarks left and right? What does that mean for the value of images?
Well, that's a good question. If anyone can just strip off the watermark, then why would someone pay for a license?
Exactly. And that's where I start to worry about the financial impact on artists and agencies.
Yeah, the risks are significant. It could really undermine their control over how their work is used and monetized.
Like their livelihood is at stake here.
Yeah, in a way it is.
And it's interesting because, we were looking at some other AI models like Claude 3.7 and GPT-4.
Right.
And they apparently refuse to remove watermarks.
Yeah, I read that too.
So it's like there's an ethical line being drawn here between different AI developers.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. It really raises the question of what responsibility AI developers have when they're putting out these super powerful tools.
Especially when it comes to something as fundamental as intellectual property rights.
Exactly.
And Google has said using their AI tools to break copyright is against their terms of service.
Right. They have been pretty clear about that.
But they're also saying they're watching the feedback on this experimental feature.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to find a balance,
So maybe they're thinking about how to use this technology in a way that doesn't totally step on creators' toes.
Possibly. Or maybe they're just collecting data to see how effective the technology is and how much demand there is for it.
But if they know this could be a problem for copyright, why release it at all, even in an experimental phase?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's this tension between pushing the boundaries of technology and protecting the rights of creators.
And it's not like this is happening in a vacuum, right? We've seen these broader discussions about AI and intellectual property.
Absolutely.
Like OpenAI even floated the idea of loosening copyright restrictions for AI companies.
Yeah, I remember that.
It feels like the whole digital world is scrambling to figure out what the rules are supposed to be.
Yeah, the old rules don't seem to apply anymore.
And the thing that I find really fascinating is Google's commitment to the White House to put invisible digital watermarks into AI-generated content.
Yeah, that synthety thing.
So on one hand, they're developing a tool to erase watermarks, and on the other hand, they're saying we need to embed watermarks even deeper into AI creations.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head-scratcher, isn't it?
So where does that leave us? Well, it seems like this Gemini 2.0 Flash thing and its ability to remove watermarks, it's a huge technological leap, but it also raises some really serious questions about how we protect intellectual property in the digital age.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's both exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
Because on the one hand, we have this incredible new tool that can do all sorts of amazing things.
Right.
But on the other hand, we have to make sure that these advancements don't end up hurting the people who are creating the content that fuels the digital world.
Exactly. We need to find a way to balance innovation with the need to protect creators and their livelihoods.
So that's the challenge that's facing us right now, and it's something that we all need to be thinking about as AI continues to develop at this breakneck pace.
Yeah, it's a conversation that we need to be having as a society.
So as you go about your day, I want you to consider this. How do we ensure that these advancements in AI actually benefit everyone, not just the tech companies, but also the artists, the photographers, the writers, the musicians, all the people who are pouring their creativity into the digital world?
Yeah, that's a great question to ponder.
How do we find that sweet spot where technology and creativity can thrive together without one undermining the other?
Food for thought, for sure.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.
See you later.